Imagine a world where everything suddenly stops. The phone in your pocket goes dead, the internet shuts down, cars refuse to start, airplanes cannot fly, and the global financial system freezes in an instant. This is not the plot of a science fiction movie. This is exactly what would happen if we suddenly lost access to a tiny, almost invisible piece of technology: the semiconductor. Most of us go about our daily lives never seeing one, yet these microscopic chips are the beating heart of the modern world. They are the brains inside your microwave, the navigation system in your car, the core of artificial intelligence, and the guidance systems of advanced military missiles. In the 20th century, the global economy and international foreign policy were dictated by one vital resource: oil. Wars were fought over it, alliances were forged because of it, and entire nations rose and fell based on where the oil flowed. Today, we are living through a massive historical shift. Microchips are the new oil. They are the most critical resource of the 21st century. But unlike oil, which is pumped out of the ground in dozens of countries, the most advanced microchips are manufactured in just a few highly concentrated places on Earth. And the fight to control this supply chain is currently rewriting the rules of global power. To understand this new world order, we have to look at the three main players in this high stakes game: the United States, China, and a small self governed island named Taiwan. The tension between these three powers is the defining geopolitical drama of our time. To see why, you have to understand how incredibly difficult it is to make a modern microchip. We are not talking about building a car or assembling a smartphone. Making an advanced semiconductor is arguably the most complex manufacturing process human beings have ever invented. We are printing billions of tiny switches called transistors onto a piece of silicon the size of your fingernail. These transistors are so small that they are measured in nanometers. To put that in perspective, a single strand of human hair is about 100,000 nanometers wide. The transistors on the newest chips are just 3 nanometers wide. They are the size of a few atoms. You cannot build these in a regular factory. You need facilities called fabs, which cost upwards of $20 billion to build. They have to be perfectly clean. A single speck of dust can ruin millions of dollars worth of chips. Because making chips is so expensive and so difficult, the world essentially decided to outsource the hardest part to one place: Taiwan. More specifically, to one company called TSMC, or the Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company. Today, TSMC makes over 90% of the world's most advanced microchips. If you have an Apple iPhone, a modern AI computer, or an advanced graphics card, the brain inside it was printed in Taiwan. This gives Taiwan something experts call the silicon shield. The global economy is so utterly dependent on Taiwanese chips that any disruption to the island, like a blockade or an invasion, would trigger an immediate global depression. How did the United States, the country that actually invented the microchip, lose its grip on making them? For decades, American companies decided that designing chips was highly profitable, but physically manufacturing them was too messy, expensive, and risky. So, tech giants kept the design work in places like Silicon Valley, but sent the blueprints to Taiwan to actually build the chips. For a long time, this system worked perfectly. Global trade flowed, electronics got cheaper, and everyone was happy. But then, two things changed: the rise of artificial intelligence and the rise of China. China is the undisputed factory of the world. To build all the world's electronics, China needs a massive supply of microchips. In fact, China spends more money every year importing microchips than it does importing foreign oil. The Chinese government realized that this dependency is a massive strategic vulnerability. Without advanced chips, China cannot lead the world in artificial intelligence, supercomputing, or next generation military weapons. So, Beijing poured billions of dollars into its domestic chip industry, aiming to become completely self reliant. The United States watched China's technological rise with growing alarm. Washington realized that if China dominates the technology of the future, it could shift the global balance of power. So, the US launched an aggressive counterstrike. It wasn't a strike with missiles or tanks, but with export controls. The United States government effectively banned American companies from selling the most advanced chips or the tools needed to make them to China. The goal was simple: to freeze China's technological progress in place. But the United States couldn't do this alone because the global supply chain is incredibly tangled. This brings us to the ultimate choke point of the tech war, a company called ASML located in Netherlands. ASML is the only company in the entire world that makes the extreme ultraviolet or EUV lithography machines required to print the most advanced chips. These machines cost hundreds of millions of dollars each and use mirrors so smooth that if they were the size of the earth, the tallest mountain would be a millimeter high. Under heavy pressure from the US, the Dutch government agreed to block ASML from selling its best machines to China. At the same time, the US realized it had to bring manufacturing back home. So, the US government passed the CHIPS and Science Act, injecting tens of billions of dollars. Massive new factories are springing up in the deserts of Arizona, the plains of Ohio, and across Texas. But building the factory is only half the battle. Finding the highly trained workforce to run them is proving to be a massive challenge. Meanwhile, China did not just roll over and give up. When you back a major power into a corner, they innovate. Despite the heavy US sanctions, China's leading chip maker SMIC stunned the world. Using older, less restricted machines, they managed to push the limits of physics and successfully manufacture advanced 7 nanometer chips, powering new domestic smartphones like those from Huawei. By 2026, they have even begun creeping toward 5 nanometer capabilities. It is more expensive and less efficient for them to do it this way, but they are providing that they can build a domestic supply chain if they are forced to. The tech war did not stop China, it just forced them to take a different path. Why does all of this matter so much right now? The answer is artificial intelligence. The AI revolution is not just software. AI requires an unimaginable amount of computing power. The massive data centers that train systems to write code, cure diseases, or drive cars are entirely dependent on highly specialized AI chips. Whoever controls the flow of these chips will control the speed of the AI revolution. If a nation controls the AI revolution, they control the future of the global economy and military supremacy. So, we find ourselves on a geopolitical tightrope. Taiwan is caught in the middle. The United States is racing the clock, and China is furiously building its own independent tech ecosystem. We used to measure national security in barrels of oil, tons of steel, and numbers of battleships. Today, power is measured in nanometers. The world has realized that if you cannot manufacture chips, you cannot build the future. The supply chain of semiconductors is no longer just about the business or consumer electronics. It is the very foundation of modern foreign policy. The new oil is made of sand, light, and cord, and the battle to control it has only just begun.